Admiral Park stood at the viewport of his command ship, watching as the Galactic Concordat fleet gathered for their final attack on Earth. Thousands of warships filled the darkness of space, their lights twinkling like artificial stars. The combined might of 17 alien civilizations was about to crush the last human resistance. "The humans have fought well," his executive officer, Commander Lee, said quietly. "But their defensive line is falling apart. Our latest reports show they have only 40 ships left." Admiral Park nodded slowly, his face showing no emotion. The war had lasted longer than anyone expected. These humans were surprisingly difficult to defeat, but their end was finally near. "Send the ultimatum," he ordered. "They have 12 hours to surrender completely. After that, we begin the final assault." Commander Lee bowed slightly and left to carry out the order. Admiral Park continued to stare at the blue-green planet below. Soon, it would join the other human colonies that had already fallen under Concordat control. On Earth's damaged orbital command station, Captain Kim received the message with a calm face. Around her, the remaining officers of Earth's Defense Force watched nervously. The station had taken heavy damage in the last attack. Half the systems were offline, and they were running on emergency power. "Shall I prepare our answer, Captain?" Lieutenant Choi asked. His uniform was dirty, and dark circles showed under his eyes. Like all of them, he had not slept properly in days. "No," Captain Kim replied. "Let them think we're considering it. We only need to hold them off a little longer." She turned to look at the tactical display. The situation was desperate. The Concordat fleet surrounded Earth in a sphere of overwhelming firepower. Their remaining ships were badly outnumbered. "Do you think they suspect anything?" Major Han asked quietly, coming to stand beside her. Captain Kim shook her head. "No. Admiral Ryu's strategy is working perfectly. For 2 years, we've let them believe they're winning. We've sacrificed colonies, lost battles we could have won, all to hide our true strength." The Major looked troubled. "The cost has been high." "It has," Captain Kim agreed. "But necessary. If the Concordat had any idea what we were building, they would have thrown everything at us long ago." Lieutenant Choi approached with a datapad. "Message from Europa Base, Captain." Encoded transmission. Captain Kim took the pad and entered her security code. As she read the message, a small smile appeared on her face for the first time in weeks. "It's time," she said. "The Dreadnoughts are ready." Meanwhile, on the Concordat flagship, Admiral Park was meeting with his War Council. Officers from all 17 species sat around a large table, discussing the final attack plans. "The human defenses are concentrated around their northern hemisphere," General Tay said, pointing to the holographic display of Earth. "We should focus our attack on their southern approach, where they are weakest." "What about their remaining ships?" asked Commander Song, from the Intelligence Division. "They are spread too thin," General Tay replied dismissively. "They cannot stop our advance." Admiral Park nodded. "Begin moving our forces into position. When their surrender deadline passes, I want to strike immediately." As the meeting ended, Commander Song approached Admiral Park privately. "Sir, there's something that concerns me. Some of our long-range sensors have detected unusual energy readings from Jupiter's moon Europa." "What kind of readings?" "Unknown, sir. They appear and disappear irregularly. Our science division can't explain them." Admiral Park frowned. "Could it be a weapon?" "If it is, it's unlike anything we've encountered before," Commander Song said. "But the readings are inconsistent. Most likely sensor malfunction or natural phenomena." "Keep monitoring it," Admiral Park ordered. "But I doubt it matters now. Nothing can stop our fleet." Back on Earth's command station, Captain Kim had assembled her senior officers. Their faces showed new energy as she shared the news. "For 2 years, we've fought a losing battle," she told them. "We've retreated, we've lost ships and colonies, all to hide our true plan. The Concordat thinks they know our strength. They believe victory is certain." She activated the large display screen, showing a classified image of a massive ship, unlike anything Earth had built before. Its dark hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "This is the Dreadnought Sunlight, the first of 12, she said. Each one carries the dark energy technology developed by Dr. Bay. Their shields cannot stop it. Their sensors cannot detect it until it's too late." "When do they launch?" Major Han asked. Captain Kim checked the time. "Right now, they're moving into position behind the Concordat fleet. In 6 hours, when the surrender deadline expires, Admiral Park will get a surprise he'll never forget." 2 years earlier, beneath the thick ice sheets of Jupiter's moon Europa, Dr. Bay stood in a massive underground chamber carved from the frozen crust. The facility wasn't on any official maps. Its existence was known to fewer than 300 people in the entire solar system. The chamber housed an enormous ship under construction. Workers in specialized suits moved across its dark hull like tiny insects on a sleeping beast. The vessel was unlike any warship humans had previously built, larger, sleeker, with strange protrusions that defied conventional design principles. Dr. Bay checked the readings on her tablet one more time before entering the secure conference room. Inside, General Kong and 5 other military leaders waited for her report. Their faces showed the strain of fighting a losing war. "The dark energy matrix is stable," she announced, projecting her data onto the main screen. "We can now harness it as both shield and weapon." General Kong leaned forward. "You're certain?" "The last test nearly caused a meltdown." "We solved the containment issue," Dr. Bay replied, pulling up a simulation. "The energy flows in a controlled pattern now. When directed outward, it passes through conventional shields as if they weren't there." Admiral Ryu, the oldest person in the room, shook his head in wonder. All those years the Concordat spent perfecting their shield technology, made obsolete in one stroke. "How soon can we implement this in the Dreadnought prototypes?" General Kong asked. 6 months for the first vessel," Dr. Bay said. 18 months for a fleet of 12. "That long?" Colonel Moon objected. "Earth's outer colonies are falling every week. Mars might not last another 6 months. "Then we need to buy time," General Kong said firmly. "Earth must appear to be losing this war while we prepare our response." The implications hung heavy in the room. More colonies would fall. More soldiers and civilians would die or be captured. All to maintain the deception. "I don't like it," Admiral Ryu said. "But I don't see another choice. The Concordat outnumbers us 10 to 1. If they discover what we're building, they'll throw everything they have at us immediately." The meeting continued late into the night. By morning, they had developed what they called the long defense strategy. Earth would fight hard enough to make the Concordat work for every victory but would ultimately give ground everywhere. Resources would be secretly diverted to the Dreadnought project. The public would be told only that new weapons were being developed, nothing more. 6 months later, Captain Kim received unexpected orders to report to Europa Base. She had earned a reputation as one of Earth's most creative combat commanders, winning 3 battles against superior Concordat forces through unconventional tactics. A small, unmarked shuttle took her from Earth to Europa. The trip was made in complete silence. The pilot refused to answer any questions about their destination or mission. When they finally arrived at the hidden base, Captain Kim was escorted deep underground. General Kong himself met her at a massive pressure door. "What I'm about to show you is Earth's last hope," he said. "If knowledge of this project reaches the Concordat, we lose everything." The door opened to reveal the completed prototype Dreadnought. Captain Kim stared in amazement. The ship was enormous, at least 5 times larger than Earth's biggest cruiser. "This is Sunlight," General Kong said. "The first of 12. And you're going to command it." Over the next year, Captain Kim lived on Europa, training with her crew in virtual simulations. They practiced combat maneuvers that would have been impossible in any previous ship. The dark energy drive allowed for movements that defied normal physics. The weapons systems could strike through shields that had previously been impenetrable. Meanwhile, the war continued to go badly for Earth. The colony on Mars fell. The mining stations in the asteroid belt were captured. Earth's fleet took heavy losses in every engagement. During a rare secure communication with Earth, Captain Kim spoke with her brother, Major Han, who commanded Earth's orbital defenses. "It's getting harder to maintain morale," he told her. "People think we're losing. They don't understand why we're not using all our resources to fight." "They can't know yet," Captain Kim said. "Neither can the Concordat." "How much longer?" Captain Kim looked through the viewport at the other dreadnoughts under construction. 9 were now complete, with the remaining 3 nearing completion. "Soon," she promised. "Just hold them off a little longer. When the time comes, the Concordat will learn they've been fighting only a fraction of Earth's true strength." As she ended the call, a technician approached with a report. "The dark energy cannons on Dreadnought Moonrise just passed final testing. All systems operational. The 12-hour surrender deadline was almost up." Admiral Park stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the tactical display as his fleet moved into attack position around Earth. The massive Concordat armada formed a perfect sphere around the blue planet, with heavier warships concentrated near Earth's southern hemisphere where defenses were weakest. "Any response to our ultimatum?" Admiral Park asked. Commander Lee checked the communications panel. "None, sir." They'd maintained complete silence. Stubborn to the end, Admiral Park remarked. "Begin the final attack sequence. All ships, engage as planned." The order spread across the vast fleet. Thousands of warships began their coordinated advance toward Earth. The battle started exactly as the Concordat strategists had predicted. Earth's defending ships fought bravely but were quickly overwhelmed by superior numbers. Their defensive platforms in orbit fired desperately at the approaching armada, but their weapons barely dented the Concordat's advanced shields. Admiral Park watched with satisfaction as the tactical display showed one human vessel after another being disabled or destroyed. Victory seemed not just inevitable but imminent. "Earth's Northern Defense Group is attempting to reposition," reported Commander Song from the tactical station. "They're trying to reinforce their southern flank." "Too late," Admiral Park said. "Press the advantage. Have battle groups 3 and 4 accelerate their approach." The Concordat warships surged forward, closing the gap around Earth. The remaining human vessels fought with surprising coordination, but they were clearly outmatched. Admiral Park was already considering what terms of surrender he would dictate when Commander Lee suddenly straightened at his sensor station. "Sir, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures materializing behind our formation." Admiral Park turned to view the tactical display. "Behind us? What type of signatures?" "Unknown, sir." "They're appearing out of nowhere," Commander Lee's voice faltered. "Sir, vessels are materializing. Massive ships, at least 12 of them." The display updated to show 12 enormous objects that had somehow appeared behind the Concordat's rearguard. Each was far larger than any known human warship, their dark hulls barely registering on sensors until they were already present. "Impossible," Admiral Park whispered. "They can't have ships that size." "Our intelligence." "Sir, the unknown vessels are powering up some kind of energy weapon," Commander Song shouted. On the bridge of the Dreadnought Sunlight, Captain Kim sat calmly in the command chair. Around her, her crew operated with practiced precision, despite this being their first real combat mission. "All ships, power up dark energy arrays," she ordered. "Target their command vessels first." Lieutenant Choi at the weapons station confirmed the order. "Dark energy arrays at full charge, Captain. Targeting Concordat command ships. Fire." From the 12 dreadnoughts, beams of what looked like liquid darkness extended across space. Where they touched the Concordat ships, the supposedly impenetrable shields simply vanished. The beams cut through hulls as if they were paper. Admiral Park watched in horror as his rearguard disintegrated. 20 ships, gone in seconds. Before he could issue new orders, another beam struck a cruiser near his flagship. The vessel didn't explode, it simply came apart, as if the forces holding its atoms together had ceased to exist. "Evasive maneuvers," he shouted. All ships, break formation and retreat. But the dreadnoughts were faster than they should have been for vessels their size. They moved with impossible agility, each becoming the center of destruction in its own sector. The carefully planned Concordat attack collapsed into chaos. "Sir, we're receiving distress calls from throughout the fleet," Commander Lee reported, his voice shaking. "Whatever weapons those ships are using, our shields have no effect against them." On the dreadnought Sunlight, Captain Kim directed her ship straight toward the Concordat flagship. The enormous vessel moved with grace that defied its size, easily avoiding the panicked fire from smaller enemy ships. "Their fleet is breaking formation," Major Han reported from the tactical station. "Their communication channels are filled with confusion." Captain Kim nodded. "They never suspected what we were building. 2 years of secrecy and sacrifice have paid off." She turned to her weapons officer. "Disable their flagship's engines, but leave their life support intact. Prepare boarding teams. I want to speak with Admiral Park personally." Within an hour, the situation had completely reversed. The once mighty Concordat fleet was in disarray, with many ships destroyed and others fleeing through hyperspace jumps. The dreadnoughts moved methodically through the formation, disabling vessels with surgical precision. As Captain Kim's boarding shuttle approached the crippled Concordat flagship, she looked out at Earth below. For the first time in years, the planet wasn't under immediate threat. The human colonies might have been lost temporarily, but they would soon be reclaimed. "Send word to Earth Command," she told Major Han before boarding. "Operation Hidden Hand is complete. The Concordat fleet is defeated." On his damaged bridge, Admiral Park waited in stunned silence for the human commander who had somehow turned certain victory into devastating defeat. The airlock door of the Concordat flagship hissed open. Captain Kim stepped onto the bridge, followed by 4 soldiers in Earth's defense uniform. The once immaculate command center was now dim, running on emergency power. Damaged panels sparked occasionally, and the air smelled of burned electronics. Admiral Park stood at the center of the bridge, his uniform still perfectly in place despite the chaos around him. His officers had been disarmed but remained at their stations. "Admiral Park," Captain Kim said. "I am Captain Kim of the Earth Defense Force." "Captain." The Admiral's voice was stiff but controlled. "I assume you're here to accept my surrender." Captain Kim studied him for a moment. "That depends on your cooperation." Through the viewport behind the Admiral, she could see the battle continuing. But it was no longer a battle, it was a rout. The massive Concordat fleet that had surrounded Earth hours ago was now scattered. Several of the alien ships were actually firing on each other in their panic to escape. "Impossible," Admiral Park whispered, following her gaze. "How could you hide such technology from us?" "Our intelligence network monitored every shipyard, every research facility." "Not every one," Captain Kim replied. "We've been preparing for this day for 2 years, Admiral. While you thought you were winning, we were building." Commander Lee approached cautiously. "Sir, we're receiving surrender transmissions from the Xian and Voran contingents of our fleet. They're abandoning the Concordat alliance." Admiral Park's face showed no emotion, but his shoulders sagged slightly. Captain Kim nodded to Major Han, who had followed her aboard. "Contact all remaining Concordat vessels. Inform them that we will accept their surrender if they power down weapons and shields." Major Han began transmitting the message while Captain Kim turned back to Admiral Park. "Your fleet is finished," she said simply. "The dark energy weapons on our dreadnoughts can disable any ship in your armada. You can order the rest of your commanders to stand down, or we can continue destroying them. The choice is yours." Admiral Park looked around his bridge, at the faces of his officers, some afraid, others angry, all defeated. Then he looked back at the human captain. "After all this time fighting you humans," he said quietly, "I never truly understood your species. We have 17 civilizations in our alliance. Together we have conquered hundreds of worlds. Yet you, with just one planet, have managed to defeat us." "We didn't want this war," Captain Kim replied. "Your Concordat attacked our colonies without provocation. Because you were expanding too quickly, Commander Song interjected. The Concordat Council saw humanity as a future threat and created an immediate enemy instead, Major Han observed. Admiral Park moved to his command console. I am transmitting the surrender code to all Concordat vessels. They will comply or face the consequences alone. Within hours, the situation in Earth's orbit had transformed completely. The remaining Concordat ships formed neat, organized rows, engines powered down, weapons disabled. Earth's conventional defense fleet, what remained of it, moved among them like shepherds watching a flock. Meanwhile, Captain Kim led Admiral Park to the conference room of his own flagship. Representatives from Earth's government had arrived via shuttle. The small, plain room now held the fate of 17 alien civilizations. The Concordat will disband, Earth's defense minister stated firmly. Each member species will have the option to sign a separate peace treaty with Earth. Impossible, Admiral Park objected. The Concordat has existed for 3 centuries. Many worlds depend on our protection. Your protection? Captain Kim asked sharply. Is that what you called the destruction of our Mars colony? The bombardment of our lunar cities? Admiral Park fell silent. He had no defense for the Concordat's actions. Earth will oversee a new galactic council, the defense minister continued. All species will have equal representation, including those previously conquered by the Concordat. As the terms were outlined, Captain Kim watched Admiral Park's face. The alien commander seemed to age before her eyes, the weight of defeat settling on him. His mighty Concordat, which had ruled this sector of the galaxy for centuries, was being dismantled in a single day. And if we refuse these terms? Admiral Park finally asked. Captain Kim nodded toward the viewport, where one of the massive dreadnoughts drifted past, its dark hull absorbing the light of the distant sun. We have 12 ships that can cut through your defenses as if they don't exist, she said quietly. And we're building more. The choice is yours, Admiral, but it isn't much of a choice. As the meeting concluded, Admiral Park stood alone by the viewport, watching as the remnants of his once proud fleet floated helplessly in Earth's orbit. Captain Kim approached him before leaving. You were right earlier, she said. You never understood humans. When pushed to the edge, we don't give up. We adapt. We survive. Remember that going forward. She left the defeated admiral with that thought as she returned to her dreadnought. The long war wasn't completely over, but its conclusion was now certain. Humanity would not just survive, it would reshape the galaxy. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Earth's Dawn, as it was now called in history books. The galaxy had changed dramatically. Human ships patrolled former Concordat space, but not as conquerors. They moved as peacekeepers, ensuring the transition to the new order remained stable. On Earth's moon, in the newly constructed Galactic Assembly Hall, representatives from 30 different species gathered for the ratification of the final peace treaty. The vast chamber had been designed to make all species feel comfortable, regardless of their size, atmospheric needs, or cultural preferences. Captain Kim, now bearing the title of Ambassador Kim, led the human delegation. She wore a formal diplomatic uniform instead of her military dress, though the medals from her service remained. As she entered the chamber, many of the alien representatives stood in respect, a gesture that would have been unimaginable a year earlier. Ambassador Kim greeted Tlok, the representative from one of the smaller worlds that had suffered under Concordat rule. The final votes are being tallied now. It appears the treaty will pass unanimously. That's good news, Ambassador Kim replied. Peace should not be forced. It needs to be chosen. As they spoke, she noticed Admiral Park entering the chamber. He now served as the representative for his people, helping facilitate the peaceful transition of former Concordat worlds into the new alliance. Their eyes met across the room, and he gave a small nod of acknowledgement. Later, after the formal voting had concluded and the treaty was officially ratified, Admiral Park approached Ambassador Kim at the celebration. I never thought I would see this day, he said quietly. 17 species that once ruled through fear, now sitting as equals with those they once conquered. Change is possible when people choose it, Ambassador Kim replied. Admiral Park looked out through the dome-shaped ceiling at Earth hanging in the black sky above them. "I never understood humans," he admitted. "We thought your fractious nature, your constant disagreements, were weaknesses. They're our greatest strength," she said. "We question everything, including ourselves. That's how we survived and ultimately prevailed." "And the Dreadnoughts?" he asked. "What happens to them now?" Ambassador Kim gestured toward a viewport where one of the massive ships could be seen in lunar orbit. "They remain as guardians, not weapons of war. A reminder of what's possible if peace fails." The next morning, Ambassador Kim visited the lunar shipyards where Dr. Bay now worked. The scientist who had created the dark energy technology was leading a new project adapting the power source for peaceful uses. The first civilian transport using modified dark energy drives will launch next month, Dr. Bay explained, showing Ambassador Kim the sleek passenger vessel under construction. "It will cut travel time between Earth and the outer colonies by 80%. "And the defensive applications?" Ambassador Kim asked. "Being shared selectively," Dr. Bay replied. "The Assembly approved defensive shields for all member worlds, but the weapons technology remains restricted." As they walked through the facility, they passed a window overlooking Earth. Several of the dreadnoughts were visible in orbit, their dark hulls standing out against the blue planet. "Do you ever regret it?" Dr. Bay asked suddenly. "The deception, the colonies we sacrificed while building the fleet in secret?" Ambassador Kim was quiet for a long moment. "Every day," she finally answered. "But sometimes the cost of survival is high. What matters is what we do with the peace we've won." 1 month later, Ambassador Kim welcomed the first delegation from the far regions of the galaxy, areas that had been beyond Concordat influence. Word of Earth's defeat of the mighty Concordat had spread, and new species were curious about the humans who had accomplished what many thought impossible. Admiral Park joined her for the welcome ceremony. Their relationship had evolved into an unusual partnership. He understood the old order, while she represented the new. "They come seeking knowledge of weapons," Admiral Park observed as they watched the alien ship dock. "Perhaps," Ambassador Kim replied. "But they'll learn about cooperation instead. Earth didn't win because we built better weapons. We won because we never stopped believing we could find a way." As the delegation disembarked, Ambassador Kim stepped forward to greet them. Behind her, through the large viewport, Earth was visible with several dreadnoughts in orbit, no longer weapons of war, but guardians of a fragile peace that humanity had forged not through dominance, but through the resilience that had always defined them. Admiral Park watched as Ambassador Kim welcomed the new visitors with grace and wisdom. He finally understood what made humans different. It wasn't their technology or even their courage. It was their capacity for both war and peace, destruction and creation. They had defeated the Concordat not to rule the galaxy, but to change it, to create something better than what had existed before.